Hey guys, it's Kai. Today, let's talk about presets. Why does it work so well on some pictures, but not others? I designed a preset for this image, and then I applied the same preset to all these other images. You can see the effect is really weird on all of them, and I'm going to show you how to fix them. The thing about presets is that the settings are made specifically for one type of photo. For example, if you capture the image in different exposures, the presets might seem too dark or too bright. For this image, the initial raw file was quite underexposed. Once I applied the same preset, the image looks really dark. And a quick fix to this is just to raise the exposure. What you want to do is increase exposure so that the darker details are more visible. What also happens is that the highlights and the brighter regions are going to be more overexposed. What you want to do now is just lower the highlights. Once your highlights are negative 100, you don't really want to raise exposure anymore. What you can do is increase the shadows as well as the blacks a bit. And if it still feels a bit overexposed here, you can decrease the whites. This is a general fix. What I suggest is, unless you're exposure stacking, you shouldn't really photograph extremely underexposed. You lose a lot of details and it's really hard to kind of edit. Just to show you the difference. Now for an overexposed image, you want to do the opposite. Decrease exposure. Stop when the shadow details are just right. Then you will just lower highlights. Same with the overexposed. If the highlights are still a bit too bright, just decrease the whites. Once the highlights reach negative 100, and that's pretty much it for exposures. Next is temperature. When you apply the preset, whatever the original temperature is will be dominant in this picture. So for example, this image, it was taken during blue hour. The overall image is quite cold. A quick fix is to slide the temperature to the opposite side. Because this scene is really cold, we're just going to slide this to the warmer side. Stop when you see a nice balance of warm and cold. Another fix is we're going to the HSL tab, go to the saturation, then blue. Decrease the blues a bit. Just to show you the difference between the two. I like decreasing the blue saturation because this still feels like blue hour versus this one. When you raise the temperature or when you slide the temperature to the right, now this kind of feels like a sunset instead of actual blue hour. Next is when the image feels too warm. Instead of sliding it to the warm side, we're going to slide this to the cold side. And for this one, you do not want to decrease saturation of the orange because when you do, you're losing that sunrise or sunset gold, especially when you did not adjust the temperature. When you decrease orange here, the overall image will just look very desaturated. And I noticed that this part's a bit too dark, so we're just going to increase exposure a tiny bit, then decrease the highlights. and just a bit more blacks as well as shadows. So something like that. This was before the fix, and this is after the fix. And finally, a different scene. The first thing we notice is that this image is quite blue. I'm going to slide the temperature a bit to the warmer side. The blue is decreasing for sure. The image also feels a bit underexposed. So just raise the exposure a bit, as well as dim the highlights. Then a tiny bit increase in the shadows. Afterwards, because I still think the blues are a bit too saturated, just going to lower the saturation a tiny bit. And a quick before and after. Now I'm just going to show you all the images again. This was the base image I built the preset on, and these are the images that I just fixed. If you want to compare the before and after, you can just go back to the start of the video. That's it for this video. If you have any questions or video suggestions, you can leave a comment. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Have a great day, friends.